Extroverts. They don't just walk into a room, they happen in a room. While you're calculating the quietest corner, they've already greeted the doorman of the building next door. Some say they love people. If it were a TV documentary, it would probably say, a biological machine powered by human interaction. I prefer to call it a social endurance test. Because when you're not an extrovert, living with one feels like being stuck in a wildlife documentary, only in the exaggerated human version where the creature in question is constantly trying to drag you out of your burrow. And if there's one universal law about extroverts, it's this: the more people, the better. For them. For you, it's just more people. Origin and evolution. The extrovert, scientific name Socialis infinitus, is believed to have appeared back in prehistoric times as that tribe member who invented collective rituals with no real purpose. They were the ones saying, let's all gather around the fire, even when there was no fire. And ever since, they've evolved to infiltrate any ecosystem with at least one breathing human being. Species classification. Just like in nature, the world of extroverts is diverse and a bit noisy. Identifying which species you're dealing with is crucial, if not to avoid cultural shock, then at least to brace yourself emotionally. The partyvore. Natural habitat is any place with loud music and a makeshift dance floor. Special skill, turning "let's just stay for an hour" into "oh look, the sun's rising." Potential danger, waking up with glitter in places you didn't know existed. Yes, it's a metaphor, but not always. The hallway conversator. This one doesn't need a party, just a hallway. They hunt down any passing human, and within 30 seconds, they're already telling you about their kitchen remodel, the nephew who moved to Canada, and how unpredictable the weather's been lately. Their goodbyes last longer than some relationships. The group summoner. The most dangerous one, at least for those who value silence, they're the kind who thinks everything is better with more people. Coffee, a walk, grocery shopping. Passive ability, creating WhatsApp groups with 47 people and calling it quick hangout. Threat level, extreme, because they assume you want to be added. The energy lender. They seem like a blessing until you realize that in order to cheer you up, they'll call you at 7 a.m. on a Saturday to tell you a joke that couldn't wait. They believe the world runs on good humor and coffee, but always from your cup. The alternate reality host. Their invitations never come with an end time. Their events have a beginning, a middle, and yet another middle. An ending? Only when your social battery dies and you pretend your Uber has arrived. Each species poses its own kind of risk, but they all share the same trait. They believe silence is a mistake that needs to be corrected. Natural habitat and diet. The extrovert is, by definition, a social creature. Their natural habitat, anywhere with at least one other human being, and preferably a reason to strike up a conversation. In the wild, you can spot them at crowded events, weddings, block parties, even the grand opening of a bakery. Waiting areas, bank lines, doctor's offices, buses. To them, all are spontaneous networking opportunities. Neutral zones, office hallways, shared kitchens, even party bathrooms, the most unlikely social hub, yet very real. The extrovert's diet is rich and varied. Other people's energy, they absorb yours while you're just trying to drink your coffee in peace. Emotional reactions, laughter, sighs, even groans of exhaustion feed their spirit. Spontaneous invitations. If you say, let's hang out sometime, it's already on the calendar. Repeated stories, told so many times they've become group folklore. And when social food runs short, the extrovert relies on their backup stash. Old messages, contact lists, and long-forgotten birthdays. Any excuse works for a, hey stranger, but beware. Like certain animals, extroverts require constant stimulation. If you don't provide it, they'll go look elsewhere. And when they come back, they'll return with more stories than you can process in a week. Typical interactions and behaviors. Living with an extrovert when you're not one is like living next door to a live concert that never ends. They don't just talk, they happen. And every exchange of words is an unauthorized social event. Example 1. The innocent invitation. Extrovert. Let's grab a coffee. You. Sure, just a quick one. 4 hours later, you've had dinner, met 3 families, been invited to a barbecue, and somehow ended up enrolled in a pottery class. Example 2. The circular dialogue. You. I don't want to go. Extrovert. Oh, but it'll be quick. You. But I don't want to. Extrovert. It'll be fun. You. I don't like crowds. Extrovert. Then we'll get there early before it's packed. You. I just want to stay home. Extrovert. Great. Let's invite everyone over here. You. Extrovert. Perfect. Problem solved. The extrovert has an invisible radar for any sign of human life. You're just sitting on a park bench. They're already chatting with the popcorn vendor, the couple next to you, and the dog that walked by. And suddenly, you're also part of the conversation, even though you don't remember raising your hand to join. Extroverts interpret silence as an open invitation to fill the void. They believe every pause is just another chance to tell a story. And for every yes you give, they find 3 new "but since you agreed" hidden in the fine print. Survival Guide. If you live with an extrovert and don't want your social batteries drained before noon, follow these rules. 1. Always have an escape card ready. It can be a classic excuse like, "I have to wake up early tomorrow," or "My cat is going through an existential crisis." The important thing is that it sounds plausible enough to end the event, or at least shorten it from 6 hours to 4. 2. Master the art of yes, but. Extrovert. Let's go to the beach. You. Yes, but only if we're back before 3 p.m. Extrovert. How about a festival? You. Yes, but only if there's a place to sit. The yes keeps the extrovert calm. The but saves your sanity. 3. Establish silent zones. Define sacred spaces where no one talks and no new people are introduced. It could be the couch, the balcony, or that corner of the house where even the extrovert respects the silence. 4. Calendar control. If you let them, they'll fill up all your Saturdays until 2028. Guard your calendar like a safe. Only open it for events worth the social energy. 5. The distraction trick. When you feel the conversation turning into an eternal after-party, introduce the extrovert to someone equally chatty. They'll get distracted with each other, and you slip out the back door. Deep down, dealing with an extrovert is like taking care of an overly excited puppy. It requires patience, attention, and strategic breaks for you to breathe. Quick diagnosis. You probably have an extrovert in your life if they've introduced you to a restaurant bathroom, They think arriving early means showing up 5 minutes before the event starts to help set up the chairs. When you plan a quick meetup, they arrive with 3 extra people because they were nearby. Their stories are so long you forget how the conversation began. They've woken you up with a video call because it was faster to explain. In the middle of a party, they disappear and come back with the caterer, the DJ, and the groom's aunt. They say, "Just one more stop," and that stop is the neighboring city. They don't understand why you need an entire day without talking to anyone. To them, staying home means hosting people at home. They believe every silence is awkward silence. If you mentally checked off more than 5 items, congratulations, you definitely live with an extrovert. And finally, living with an extrovert isn't for everyone. It takes balance, endurance, and sometimes an invisible pair of headphones to protect your peace of mind. The good news? They're the first to strike up a conversation when you need one. The first to drag you out of the house when the couch starts to swallow you whole. And the first to turn a simple lunch into an entire chapter of your biography. The bad news? They're also the first to throw you into a group of strangers singing "Happy Birthday" for someone you don't even know. In the end, the key is simple. Accept that the extrovert is a social tornado. You can try to resist.
Or you can learn to spin with them every once in a while. Because as exhausting as it can be, it's impossible to deny. Without them, life would be quieter and probably a lot more boring. Quick test. How many invitations have you mentally refused just while watching this video? If it's more than 3, welcome to the introvert side of the force. Quick disclaimer. This video contains everyday humor for entertainment purposes only.